Good afternoon. Hello, I'm Casey Durango of Go Keto with Casey, where I like to talk about how I've lost 97.4 pounds, yes, still, since starting the ketogenic protocol, and how you might be able to lose weight, improve your health, and regain control of your life. And today's talk is going to be about that second thing, our health. We're clearly living through an unbelievably unusual situation. First of all, can anyone let me know if you can see and hear me? Can you just say hey? Because I always wonder. Hello? Anybody out there? I'm going to have to keep talking. Okay, great. Hey, from Richland, Washington. Hey, Nance. Patron. We're living through an unbelievable time. Many of us, want to lose weight. We want to feel better in our clothes. We want to wear cuter clothes. And that is all valid and wonderful. And for those of you who don't know, I can't screen share, but if you go to my blog, you can see some of my before photos. They're actually not even at my heaviest. But yeah, all of that is great. Losing weight was fantastic. But really, this is very key right now that we remain healthy. The best way to not become a statistic regarding this pandemic is to not get sick. And the best way to not get sick is to be healthy. And that sounds about like, duh, don't get sick, be healthy. But there is something. Statistically, those people who have had the worst outcomes after being infected or coming down with, whatever the terminology is, with COVID-19, the top portion of mortality rates are from those with diabetes. I think next is hypertension, high blood pressure. I think the third is smokers. So it seems pretty clear that we want to not be diabetic. We want to regulate our blood sugar. We want to regulate our blood pressure. Looking cute in size 6 jeans is awesome. It's not the most important thing right now. And staying to the protocol is key. A few weeks ago, I did some live streams in public ones, and I was kind of soft pedaling it a little bit because it seemed kind of trite to talk about a nutrition protocol in the midst of everything. And then it was pointed out to me that no, it's not trite. It's very important because it's not about losing those last 8 pounds. It's about not getting sick, not being vulnerable to a very serious situation. Best thing to do, not become exposed. Not everyone has that luxury. Not everyone can easily sequester. Some people are pulling heavy duty. I was talking with a friend, and we were having a Zoom session because, physical distancing. But she lives 2 miles from my house. She runs a school, and one of the parents of students is in charge of an entire hospital now that's been dedicated to treating. It's a hospital that just was going to be repurposed in town anyway. And now they said, okay, it's now going to be our COVID-19 hospital. He has moved out of his house and will not see his family for at least a month. People are doing the hard work. But if we can, we need to isolate. Not isolate, I don't like that word. We need to sequester, physically distance. If we can't do that, we have to cover our faces. We have to wash our hands. These are basic things. But really, we need the next level. We need to do the best we can do to regulate our blood sugar, our hypertension, our blood pressure, our stress level. And the way you do that, the best way to do that is to remain keto. Yes, it's stressful, But eating won't help the stress. It'll only make it worse. And not only will it make it worse for the way we feel about ourselves and our self-esteem and our fortitude, it can make us actually sick. Equate a bag of Doritos and being vulnerable to a potentially deadly virus. I'm not trying to be a fearmonger. More people are recovering than are passing. That is wonderful. That does not help the people that love the ones that we've lost. We have to remain well. And, I'm just not a fan of, well, I was doing well and then life happened. Life always happens. This happens to be a tsunami. I've used the metaphor of life always comes at us, just like if we stand with our toes in the sand at the seashore, the waves are always going to come. Sometimes there's little light waves, and sometimes there are big breakers, and sometimes the tide is high, and sometimes the tide is low. This is a tsunami. And it's very important that we navigate this with strength, making the best choices for ourselves and our loved ones that we can make. And this is within our control. Let's get really basic. I mean, if we are trying to not go to the grocery store so often, or we're trying, if we're pinching our pennies, the best thing we can do is consume fuel that is nutritious and stretches our pennies. No nutrition in Twinkies, no nutrition in pasta, no nutrition in potatoes, none, just not. Let's just face it. It's inexpensive because it's cheap, because it has no value. Bacon and eggs will get you much further with nutrition than steel cut oats and skim milk. So, if you want to, any way you look at this, economically, health-wise, physically, cosmetically, stick with the program. Now, if you're a person who is very healthy and happy and fit, and you can eat whatever you want, whenever you want, and your blood sugar and your blood pressure and your triglyceride and HDL ratio are good, fantastic. Most of us are not like that. Almost everyone is like me. I am you. I am the prototype of someone who cannot tolerate poor nutrition. In poor nutrition, I mean consuming carbs to any degree. I eat vegetables sometimes, not every day. They're not required. And I feel like I am in as good a position as possible to defend myself against any viral intruders. Let's put it that way. First of all, I hope everyone is well. I know everyone is not well. I know that there are people with whom I've had contact that this has been very tough, and people have lost people, and you lose people anyway. I mean, you lose people. Hi, Anna. Right, she's a patron. If you like this public content, thank a patron. But within our community, and by the way, my Patreon group is a support group. It's a support group. We support each other. People join my Patreon, I don't believe, to get access to me, but to get access to each other. And within our group, a woman I think it was 3 weeks ago, her father died from complications of type 2 diabetes. 3 weeks prior to that, her father had 3 toes amputated. He would not listen to the protocol. She is not diabetic. She works at this. She follows the protocol. Her mother and her 2 brothers, diabetic, but they've come on board in the last 3 weeks because this is too important. This is just food, people. It's just food. It's nothing magical. You do not have to buy anything special. How do I get started? People ask. It's easy. You don't have to do one thing. Next time you put food in your mouth, leave off the carbs. But what if I have a family? What do I eat? You eat what they eat. You just leave off the carbs. By the way, there's no reason everyone shouldn't be doing this, but that's a whole other conversation. Leave off the carbs. But it's so restrictive. No, not restrictive. Let's think about this. Most people on the standard American diet probably have a rotation of 5 or 6 meals. That's the variety. And almost certainly one of those is delivery pizza. So it's a rotation of different foods. Why all of a sudden do we need 360 different meals because we're doing keto? We're not that interesting, folks, as far as our food goes. But this is a very luscious way of eating. It's just food. You don't need to add anything. Here's the protocol. Keep your carbohydrate intake 20 grams or fewer a day. Total carbs, not net. Total carbs, net carbs just means eating more carbs. That's all that is. If you can get away with it, muzzle tough. I can't. So if you want this to work, as Dr. Westman says, if you want it to work first time, every time, 20 total grams of carbohydrate a day or fewer. Eat fatty sources of protein. If it's not on page 4, don't eat it. Link below. But you don't even need a page. Fatty sources of protein, full fat dairy if you can tolerate it and like it. It's not unlimited. And about a cup of non-starchy vegetables a day before they are cooked, about a cup, maximum, not minimum, and about 2 cups of leafy greens a day before they're cooked. Maximum, not minimum. That's it. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Stop when you're satiated. You don't have to buy MCT oil or powders. There's no on-the-shelf product with the word keto on it that I would eat on a dare. None of it. If it has a shelf life to any degree, it's probably not on the protocol. Guess what? Guess what's not on the protocol? Nut flours, nor nuts. It's just food. You just leave off the carbs. And it's amazing what happens. The woman I referenced, whose mother is diabetic and wouldn't hear anything about it, but who lost her husband 3 weeks ago. This woman said, "Mom, this is what you need to do. Here's the plan. It's not on here, don't eat it. Don't eat if you're not hungry. Stop when you're satiated." Her mother had been taking 70 units of insulin every meal. She's under doctor's care because if you are taking insulin for blood sugar, for your blood glucose, you must do this under supervision. Okay? Because your blood sugar can drop too low and you can become hypoglycemic. Anyway, under doctor's care, she's gone from 70 units of insulin per meal to 7. And her diabetologist is thrilled. Keep doing what you're doing. And the 2 brothers are on board. It's just food. It's just leaving off the carbs. And using a pandemic or a fight with your boss or your significant other or cabin fever as a reason to consume fuel that not only won't serve you, but might actually do you harm, it's counterproductive. Again, this is not about those last 8 pounds or fitting into a dress by somebody's wedding, or it's about health. What we weigh and our clothing should be way at the bottom of the list of things that are important. We need to become less inflamed. This is a very anti-inflammatory way of eating. People report that almost immediately joint pain resolves. Some people report that if they go over a little bit on their carbs, they wake up with joint pain the next morning. This is the way it is. It's not magic. It's not voodoo. And it's, the popular documentary aside, it's not a magic pill. It doesn't fix everything in everyone's life. But it goes a long way to keeping us healthy. And we must stay strong during this very trying time. I'm gonna share a personal story. And I'm gonna bring it around as an analogy. My lovely mate is a general aviation pilot. He learned to fly at a small airstrip. here. By the way, there are airstrips everywhere. Did you know this? There are airstrips all over everywhere. I had no idea. But it's barely, the runway is barely long enough to qualify with the FAA. It's a very short runway and surrounded by tall trees. So he learned to do takeoffs and landings, which are key. Those are really important things to be able to do correctly on this tiny airstrip. And that's where he learned. He didn't know any different. He'd never flown an airplane otherwise. So he learned to do it then. So now he goes to even a modest airstrip. It might be 3 times as long as this one. It is like, oh, I can do this because he can land an airplane on the size of a dime because he learned under not trying or stressful, but challenging circumstances. Think about this. We're going to get through this. This will come to an end. Hopefully we will all be here with each other and healthy. But you will be able to look back and say, listen, I was stressed, I was afraid, I was isolated, my income was slashed. I stuck to what keeps me healthy. I didn't give in, saying, well, it's a pandemic, all bets are off, because that doesn't serve us well. When you can look back and say, I stuck to it, I remained strong, moment by moment, decision by decision, mouthful by mouthful. I made it through the pandemic of 2020, the worldwide pandemic. I can stay keto under any circumstances. My husband can land an airplane on a tiny airstrip surrounded by very tall trees. We can make it through a pandemic. And it's not about vanity. And it's not about cheating. It's about making decisions. I don't like the idea of cheat days or cheat meals, or I allowed myself what you're not cheating. You're making a decision. The idea of cheating is somehow getting away with something. And almost certainly, if you eat food that does not serve you well, you're getting away with something. Sound a little harsh today. I am not upset. But I feel like the message really, really needs to be heard. That now more than ever, for our own sake and for those around us, we need to remain healthy. You know, I'm going back to the woman whose father passed, and he wouldn't deal with it. He had parts of him amputated. He didn't want to give up his food, the food that got him there. He didn't. To his family. Think about that. I know that there are people here who have loved ones that they know could benefit from this. I do. I know it. I don't suspect it. I don't think it to be true. I know it to be true. And it's frustrating. But ultimately, all we can do is take care of ourselves and not offload our ill health onto other people. And whether that's diabetes or high blood pressure or amputations or becoming vulnerable to a novel coronavirus, and we become vulnerable, and then we become sick, and then the people who love us have to watch that from a distance. No, we need to stop that at the gate. So there's never been a more important time. But it's always an important time. This will pass, and we need to continue. And we need not say, oh, we made it through that. Let's have a big party and bring on the donuts. No. We can do this. We must do this. We must do this. This is no joke. That said, I'm going to turn my attention to comments, and I hope you are all well. I get inquiries about my lovely maid and I and our family. We're quite good, and our egg supply looks depleted because I think it was 7 dozen eggs in one day. People ordered from us. We charge $4 a dozen for these happy eggs, and we have a non-contact trade-off. I leave a jar on the side porch and a bag of eggs because I don't have any cartons, and they come up and they leave the money and they take the eggs. But anyway, so we're good. If nothing else, we're going to have eggs. I will now turn. Sparkle Canada, is that your name? Are you Sparkle? I love that name. And Live Chill Life writes, I've been doing great, keeping the carbs low. I feel happy and content and with hunger under control every day, not to mention even energy levels. There's so much to recommend this protocol. So much. It goes so much beyond losing weight. GT27312, one of my fears is becoming ill and obese and having my poor family members burdened with caring for me. Right? Right? Like I said, there are people, I've had this reported to me. So-and-so, my cousin, my uncle, my brother, my whatever, says, well, I've got my insulin. I'm not giving up the French fries. I'll just take more insulin. Ugh. That's just offloading the pain to someone else. Rebecca Cortez is a member of the Go Keto with Casey Club. Thank you. You can see she has a little cheese icon. We can't hear your words enough, Casey. Thank you. Can you hear me? Oh, the actual words. Thank you for being a voice and repeating the life-changing truth. So appreciate you and how you keep reminding us how simple it really is. It really is simple. And I know that it's repetitive. But I don't know how many times I've said it, and I didn't make this stuff up. Dr. Eric Westman, I learned it from him. He didn't make it up. He learned it. By the way, I'm going to share a link with you. Some of you know that Dr. Westman has been hosting a support group meeting in Durham, North Carolina for, 8 or 10 years. He gives up his time on the first Tuesday of every month. We can't do that. So last month we because I moderate them with him. I'm honored to do that. We're buddies. We did it on Crowdcast. And so we're going to do it again, May, Cinco de Mayo, Tuesday. There's a link, and it's also below this video. It's on a Crowdcast thing. This is a registered event, and there is a charge. We didn't charge a fee previously, and sadly, the slots got filled up immediately, and then fewer than half the people that registered showed up or even watched it on replay. And so people who wanted to gain admittance were blocked out. This is now an unlimited thing because over 100 live attendees, I'm charged because Crowdcast is my account. I'm charged, which I'm fine to do. But any proceeds from this will go to Dr. Westman's efforts to making sure there are masks for all. This is his thing. So I hope you can join us. You can. It's a Crowdcast thing, not a YouTube thing. You can ask questions in advance, and we might have a special guest or two. I don't know, but Dr. Westman will definitely be there. Mona Tufan, who is in Turkey and is also a member of the club. My friend lost his brother to corona. The other one, his mother. Funerals were this week. We couldn't attend. We are sad. We try to support each other no matter what. This is not like other viruses. Healthcare workers generally don't die when treating the flu. So deniers and conspiracy theorists, They can think whatever they want. I just hope they keep their faces covered when they go out in public. That's all. I protect you, you protect me. Cover up. I'm sorry, Mona. And I know that you had a natural curfew in Turkey, correct? I mean, everything was really shut down. Hey, ketogenic. I know who you are. Had some fabulous eggs with asparagus and hollandaise sauce this morning. So deprived on keto? I think not. Now, Jen, you had shared that you and your daughters came up with a delicious, simple, 100% keto Alfredo sauce. You said, I don't know why we ever bothered buying the jarred stuff. Did you make the hollandaise? And I know that's a skill, right? Is it eggs and oil, eggs and butter, egg yolk and butter? And it's all about the man, I look really short here, don't I? Well, I am short. I'm 5'1". So let me tell you what, I'm 115 pounds lighter than my heaviest. Do the math. I'm 61 inches tall, 115 pounds. I was really fat, man. And I was not full of body positivity for myself. I admire people who are comfortable in their own skin, no matter what it looks like. I was not. And you know what? Another thing was, I'm a smart person. I'm pretty smart. And I felt like, why can I be so intelligent and not get in front of this thing? Why can I not do this? I was perfectly round for 30 years. And I gave up on losing weight. And I just didn't want to take insulin for type 2 diabetes. Started January 8th, 2014. And I saw Dr. Westman's white coat video. Ketogenic writes, yes, hollandaise in a jar with an immersion blender, butter, egg yolk, lemon juice, water, salt, a dash of hot sauce. Very nice. Very tasty. Judy, hey Judy, amazing how quickly joint pain resolves. It's the first thing I noticed before the weight. I used to get off the sofa in our den, and I was heavy, and I had tried the triathlons and everything. And honestly, I will tell you, I'm very fortunate that my joints are not ruined from trying to haul my very heavy self around the world doing, so-called jogging and cycling and swimming and doing all the other things. But anywho, I would get off the sofa and I would have to, first of all, push myself up, and I would have to unfurl myself. It was like, oh my gosh. And I was, and then start walking. And it was like, and I just assumed, well, of course you hurt your fat. Almost immediately, I got up one day and I got off the sofa and I walked to the door. It was very early in this, like a week, 10 days maybe. I turned around to my husband. I said, well, did you just notice that? He said, no, I didn't. I just got up off the sofa and walked to the door. I didn't have any of that pain. My hands don't hurt anymore. Now, that was not weight related. For one thing, I don't walk on my hands, so there was no reason my finger joints should have hurt. And my wrists, I used to always have them, wrists just ached. It is amazing how quickly some things resolve. And it's not just the weight. Put the weight way down there. Okay, Mona writes that in Istanbul, yes, in weekends, it's banned to go out. Terry Duncan writes, I registered and showed up. I've been making masks, face coverings since then, making them right now, watching you. That's fantastic. So those of you who don't know, Dr. Westman, there's an initiative, at least in the Triangle area of North Carolina where he is located, Masks for All. His intention was to get masks, stitchers, pay them to make masks and distribute them to everyone, to the homeless. He was doing this himself. He has a sewing machine. He has stitched masks. It's a simple thing. It's like keto. It's so simple. You leave off the carbs. That's it. No weird concoctions, no timed eating, just don't eat if you're not hungry. Stop when you're satiated. Leave off the carbs. with helping ourselves as much as possible. Wash your hands, keep a distance, cover your face. The covering of the face is not to protect us so much. These are not N95 masks. These are bandanas and cloths. It's to protect others from us and to help us stop touching our faces so much. Because if you've got stuff on your hands, you go around like this, gets into your eyes, gets into all your crevices. And let me say, you go out in public, okay. If you are standing online, even if you're keeping physical distance, because they have tape on the floors now, and if you cough or sneeze and your face is uncovered, people are going to drop to the floor like gunfire broke out. You don't want to be that person. Wear the bandana. I went and picked up from a local establishment. Let me pull over here. You see all that wine? I'm not that much of a wine drinker, to tell you the truth. But a local business person where I go when I had my in-person Go Keto with Casey meetups, it's at a wine store. And his business is tough. So he has a special 6 for $60, 6 bottles of wine for $60, $10 a bottle. I wanted to support him. So I went yesterday. The store was empty. It was him and one worker. And I had my bandana on and I had my latex gloves on and we kept physical distance. It's not that hard. I really do look short today. Wow. Oh gosh. Mona writes, it's 1,800 deaths by yesterday in Turkey. Laura Woods writes, hey, Casey from Tennessee. And Ketogenic writes, I don't sow, but can contribute towards those that do. We all chip in as we, there's a saying, I think it was from World War II. They also serve who stay at home and wait. Because we can all do something. Vita Moyer, my mom has breast cancer, and while she's awaiting her test results for her treatment plan, she's making masks. And Vita, a patron, if you like free content, think a patron, shared that her parents, who are under 60s, correct? We're all about this. She influenced them. It's never too late. It's never too late. The woman whose father passed from the complications from, diabetes, he was 62. I'm going to be 62 in a couple of weeks. That's a very young age, can I tell you? 62 is getting younger and younger. Hey, Mary Beth, also a patron. After 4 years of following you, my husband heard you for the first time yesterday on YouTube driving back from a tulip farm. Casey, he enjoyed listening to you and your information. Well, thank you. That's high praise. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Mary Beth. How are you doing, by the way? You're in New Jersey, correct? Laura writes, I've been watching you on and off for a year. Vita writes, Dad is in his 70s. It's really never too late. Nance writes, I bought masks from Etsy to support a couple of people. Support local business if we can. Gosh, I ordered. I'm gonna do something right here. I'm going to share a couple of links. These are not affiliate links. These are just. I bought artwork and clothing from my daughter-in-law, who's an artist. And she just launched her site, and because she was going to do it anyway, then she got laid off from a coffee shop. So I ordered coffee from the coffee shop, and it got delivered, a pound of coffee. And she has artwork, and I bought her artwork. She would have given it to me if I'd asked, but she's an artist. So it's baconbutter.com. By the way, she's not keto. She's very trim and always has been. But for some reason, her handle has always been bacon butter, which suits me. And I'm going to list Little Waves Coffee. You can get a subscription service. And I like Little Waves. They're out of Durham because they pay a living wage. They feel like if people work, they should be able to pay their rent. So they pay, I think they're baristas, they're stock people. They had to lay people off or furlough them. And they're trying to cover, I think they're still covering some of their expenses. They pay $15 an hour. Support people who are doing the best they can. This is when you show what you're made of. As they say, adversity does not build character, it reveals it. And I'm sorry to say that the character of some of the people in the world is not nice. We need to listen to our better angels. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to take care of the people we love. One of my favorite things, and I posted the image of it, it was a gift from my friend Michelle, who's a patron and a friend. She sent it to me. Those to whom much is given, much is expected, which is, I think, from Philippians. I didn't even know that was a Bible verse. I just thought it was like a really smart thing. Those to whom much is given, much is expected. If we've got an extra $5 and we can send it to our hairdresser, Amy Berger said, there are people that are being encouraged. Your hairdresser, your manicurist, people who are out of business, you can tip them virtually if you can afford it. Not everyone can do that. If you can't do that, take care of yourself. We all need to do that. What was the other thing I was going to do? I was going to link to one of my patron sites, but the woman who lost the father, she's shutting down her shop because she has to go drive and take care of her father's estate. See, he offloaded it. I'm not being harsh with the father. He just offloaded the stress to somebody else. Nancy Fennell writes, having nachos for lunch, sliced roast chicken breast, topped with avocado and jalapenos. Perfecto. Thank you for sharing that. Lula Camera writes, that camera looks great on you. Oh, thank you. That color looks great. This is, you know what this is? Can you read this? IC and IW. I can and I will. This is at my Teespring shop. I can and I will. And I bought one. I buy my own swag. And I put it in letters because not everybody wants, I can and I will. But somebody might say, what's that mean? I say, I can and I will. You can and you will what? I can be victorious. And it can be anything. Of course, my bent is ketogenic diet. Glad I got an order in with her before she left. Oh, you mean Jacqueline at Ocean Mist Soaps. Okay, Raven Blackwood 11 writes, finally tackled the carb addiction and stress eating. I've been losing steadily since January. I am stronger than a cookie. Right? For those of you who know, that's another thing. Okay, this is self-promoting. Bear with me. Trying to keep the there are I don't know how to do this. I'm going to see if I can do it. Okay, here is a link to, because I got, we just do this and I get most of my sayings from patrons who suggest them. They're t-shirts and mugs and stuff, all kinds of swag. I'm stronger than a cookie, stay keto, stay healthy. I heart bacon and bacon hearts me back. Funny story. So I designed these myself. So I made I heart bacon and bacon hearts me back. And, under the I heart bacon and between the and hearts me back, I had an image, 2 platters of bacon, little cartoony looking things. Somebody said, I like that, but not with the images of the bacon so much, because the way they're placed, they would be like bacon pasties. The 2 platters of bacon would be, you know what I'm saying? So I made another version without the images of the bacon. Sharon Boyer writes, or Boye, local veggie store here in the country in Hawaii sews aloha masks. My husband and I love them. Keto at 78 years old. And one of our patrons, and also who was putting together our Go Keto with Casey cruise, is from Hawaii. So I always think of her when I hear something about Hawaii. Judy Tucker writes, hi Casey from Iowa, the farmer girl. We got some farmers in our Patreon group. I mean, literally farmers. I'm all excited because I've got 16 chickens in my backyard and I feel like I'm just roughing it when I carry 5 gallons of feed from the galvanized can to their hopper. People are posting in our By the way, there's a secret hidden Go Keto with Casey Patreon Facebook group. Super, super hidden. They're posting pictures of birthing calves, not birthing them, but the brand new calves that are just standing up for the first time. I'm thinking, wow, I am not much of a farmer. They are farmers. Gray's Custom Trim. Hey, it's been a while, Gray. And for those who don't, if you want to put your business in, if your shop is open, it's card trim, right? Hey, Casey, a big thank you for sharing the information you do. The easiest, simplest way to eat. 1 year keto. On the 15th, I have lost. You lie. I have lost 255.2 pounds and 89% off of 4 ourselves leave to eat stuff. You know why certain companies are so popular? Because they tell people what they want to hear. Eat the food you love with the new point system. Really? So you're telling me that eating a chocolate cupcake is good for me? Eat all this food. Just don't eat anything else. We'll ship it to you. Really? Don't eat anything else? All my food's going to be shipped to me? Have these 2 shakes and a sensible meal. And then the definition of sensible is left up to whatever we think is sensible. The truth is, we can't just eat whatever we want. If we are people like me, and I am mostly like everybody, who eventually, maybe not when you're 10 or 20 or 25 or 30, eventually, carbohydrates start to impact us. Type 2 diabetes used to be known as a disease of middle age because it took years of our insulin being jacked up all over the place, trying to regulate flushes of glucose. And then it's like, insulin says, you're on your own. And the insulin is still there, by the way. These commercials that say, I'm a type 2 diabetic, but this medication will help my body make use of the insulin it still has. Your insulin doesn't need all that much help. Just leave off the carbs. It knows what to do. The insulin does. But the truth is, no, you can't eat anything you want. You can't. And I hear from people say, I was doing great. I lost 72 pounds. And then there was a birthday celebration a year ago, and I've not been able to get back on track. It's just not worth it. Y'all, it just isn't worth it. Gary's Custom Trim, way to go. That is fantastic. Raven Blackwood 11 writes, I have found that my body can tolerate a max of 10 carbs per day. If I have more veggies, my body gives me hot flashes and night sweats. When I'm under 10 for the day, we are all a little bit different. Some can tolerate more carbs for a while. Sometimes you can tolerate more carbs, and then you get a little bit older and you lose a bit more weight, and it's not so much. But I'm probably I'm a sub 10 carbs a day person, maybe sub 5. I mean, I don't eat veggies as a rule. I'll make a sandwich with cabbage, substituting for the bread, cabbage leaves. And that might be the only vegetable I have for 2 weeks. Congratulations to Gary's Custom Trim. Shell F, hi, fellow farmer. Shell, are you a farmer too? Come on. So y'all are not that impressed with my chickens. All right. Thank you so much for allowing me to be part of your day. Oh, I do want to share something. My friend, Amy Berger. I want to share a link to her book. It's an ebook, Stall Slayer. She's so smart. See, and we're friends. And I couldn't write a book called The Stall Slayer because all my book would say would be eat less food. If you're not losing weight, you need to reduce your fuel. But she's really smart. And so she goes and she breaks down a lot of things. So she's super smart and it's researched. And, let's show some love to the smart people. Love my chickens, Casey, writes Judy Tucker. Hey, from Williamsburg, Virginia. Hey, Cynthia. All right, here we go again. I'm going to sign off. Try to make it to Dr. Westman's online support group, the Durham Support Group Meeting virtual edition. Any proceeds will go to the good doctor, and he will get them into the hands of stitchers to make more masks. And stay safe. Stay safe. This is more important than getting into size 12 jeans. We have to stay healthy. Leave off the carbs. That's it. Don't eat if you're not hungry, but really leave off the carbs. All right, friends. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your Saturday. Vaya con Dios.